My name is Arin Lindauer, and you're listening to A Life Without Struggle. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful children, a 2-time best-selling author, and a highly driven and successful entrepreneur. In my 17-plus year career as a mindset and health expert, I know what holds women back from a life you only dream about. Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, or executive, I started this podcast because I have been where you are, and I know you want and deserve more out of your life. I believe women are limitless. We just get lost along the way. The process to get you there is the topic and purpose of this podcast. When you understand what you want, you can truly step into a life without struggle. Welcome, and I'm so thankful you're here. All right, welcome back to another episode of Life Without Struggle. My name is Arin Lindauer, and today's topic is a really good one. It's a really good one about how bad do you want the goal? And so I'm always framing all of my conversations around weight loss, health goals, and you guys know as I share this over and over again, these principles apply across all areas of your life. And honestly, I know personally when you have your health, literally anything else is possible. Or I know that everything else that you're going for in life is going to become that much easier when you feel good about you. So today we're going to dig into how bad do you want the goal? Now, the reason why I would even come up with a topic like this is because so many times I see someone get excited, they desire to lose some weight, for example, and they get going on this journey, right? And sometimes that's just half the battle. Number one, getting started. That is one of the most challenging things. I know it can be an intimidating space. I know that it can be a frustrating space because for most of us, we have tried to lose weight 1,000 times in our life. And so the thought of doing this again is just it's so frustrating because it comes with a lot of baggage. And so I want to speak into that here just in a second. But the problem is we say the goal that we want. We get started on this journey, which if you do that, you're already ahead of the curve. Because here's what I know is most people don't even get started. So if you've gotten started on a weight loss journey, and you're about 5, 6, 8 months in, if you're a year in and you are still getting after this, you are better than most. Because most people here, I'm going to be very genuine. Most people will never get started. They never get started because they're scared. They've tried so many different things. I can't lose weight is a story that they tell themselves. So if you're on this journey and you're deep into it, you are 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 months in. First off, I want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate you on saying, yes, I matter, I'm important, and I have a goal that I want, and it's worthwhile to pursue it. Okay? So, how many times do people start something like their education? How many times do people start college, for example, and they fail the first semester, or they don't even make it to class, or they never finish that degree? That is really very similar to a weight loss journey. So I want you to think about this. If you are deep in this journey, or if you have done countless things trying to see the desired results and you feel like you're beating your head against the wall, here's the thing that I want to do is I want to congratulate you. Now, you may be saying I didn't hit my goal yet. What up? Well, here's the thing. You got started. Desired something bigger for yourself, desired a certain outcome. Most people do not even believe in themselves enough to even take that most critical step. So let that really sink in, okay? Let that sink in because you made the decision and you started down this journey. But here's what happens. You start settling, okay? So again, when we start a new journey, start a new goal, things can be exciting, and it should be, right? I remember when we first started our business and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I'm learning all these things. Sometimes you want to hit your head against the wall, but for the most part, you're like, okay, cool. Let's take this problem, let's solve it, or let's figure out this new technology. Or I'll never forget the first time we were implementing a CRM. So that's a client relationship management system, and they're called a bunch of different things now. But I remember that being so foreign to me. And thank God Tony just took the bull by the horns and figured it out, because it literally changed the trajectory of our business. But I just remember looking at it going, oh my God, this is foreign. You're going to send a bunch of emails, postcards, direct mail. That's so weird. I don't understand this. Why would anybody want to get something from us? But it's so funny because it was a challenge and it was something that we worked through. And now, I can't even imagine not having all the systems and tools and things that we do inside of our CRM now to this day, let alone just the tagging systems and understanding what lead came from where. Anyways, I could go down a super deep hole there, but it was new. It was exciting and you were getting after it. That's how I felt when we first started our business. Then you started to settle in. And it was like, oh God, I've created a monster, right? It's no different with weight loss. Is you get some results under your belt, you're all excited, and then you hit that first plateau, or you feel like it's creeping at a snail's pace. And listen, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate it all day long. And the thing that I'm going to tell you is it does take time. Think about how many years you've had the additional weight on your body. I mean, that is something to actually take note and go, okay, girl, if this does take me a year, 2 years, I mean, it is what it is. You're doing it the right way so that you can learn the lessons along this journey to truly become this different version of you. This version of you that doesn't crave sweets, the version of you that doesn't eat in excess, the version of you that just really believes in your body as this machine and this tool that you take care of. See, we don't live in a culture or a society that preaches this stuff. We live in a society that it's a big old circle between big pharma and the food industries and, a few other people mixed in there, and they want you unhealthy. They want you to be dependent upon the drugs. And this isn't me slamming these companies, but if you think about it, they've made a lot of food very, very addictive. They've added a ton of sugar and a ton of things into food to make you crave it and want more. Okay, so think about it. If you would go back to caveman days, a lot of this stuff didn't exist. Okay, and I'm not saying right, wrong. We shouldn't have modern technology and foods readily available to us, but it's gotten really, really skewed and really out of hand as far as what it takes to fuel our body. And for most, when we actually add up how many calories we should have in a day, in which most women are going to need somewhere between 15 and 1700 calories, and this is for a woman in weight loss mode. Now, a woman who is smaller may need somewhere more around that 12 and 1300. A woman that's a little bit taller, bigger structure, she's going to be closer to the 1700. And it ebbs and flows, okay? So I'm not a huge fan of counting every second of this. But here's the thing, when you actually add up dense, real, nutritious foods, you can eat a decent amount of food when they're in their whole form. It's when we start adding all the stuff to it. And here's the thing, it's okay in moderation, but the calories can add up super, super quick. Anytime we dine out at restaurants, even if it's a healthier place, it's wild how many calories an entree is. And I really wish that that was something that we all had to stare at before we made a decision on what we were going to put in our body, because you would think differently if you knew that that was 800 calories, 1100 calories plus. I mean, some meals are well over 2000 calories, and you're sitting here going, whoa, I shouldn't even have that in a day. Yet that's just one meal. Yikes. Okay. So the thing that I want to dig into here a little bit deeper is it is not a cultural norm here inside the United States of America for you to be fit. If you look around, just look around, and I guarantee most of your family, most of your colleagues, most of just the people you're seeing in and out of just the places you frequent, most people are not screaming health, okay? And this isn't to slam anyone, but I want to bring some awareness that our culture and society does not promote you being fit as a fiddle, okay? So, okay, you may be saying, okay, Arin, got it, yeah. And here's the thing, I will never, ever forget this. We used to go down to Orlando about once a quarter minimum to go to a conference that was specifically for fitness business owners. So this was brick and mortar, storefront gyms, personal training facilities, and we would all get together and mastermind. And I mean, it was fantastic. It was where I've just learned so much about business and just how to do things and do things well. And I remember like all of us were really fit. Right. So we all are in this industry. It's obviously a huge priority to us, and we're trying to help other people. That's truly, I mean, when you talk to a personal trainer, a health coach, like we love people and we want to see people win, and we know what people are made of. Okay. So we would go to these conferences, we'd be around really like-minded people. We would always work out. The gym was just hopping, or all of us were out beating the pavement, doing something. I mean, some people would like ship in kettlebells, and it was like the most fun workouts ever because we were all a bunch of meatheads and we just loved it. And so we would hang out for like a long weekend, get business done, network, do all the things, and then we would go home. I remember, though, the very, very first trip. So we had been in this conference with everybody was just in really, really good shape. And then we're in Orlando, which if you've ever been in Orlando's airport, it is a pretty busy airport. It's an international airport, a lot of flights in and out of there every day. But we got into the airport and I just happened to be looking around and I was like, gosh. Majority of these people are obese or would be considered. And I was just looking around and I was like, man. And then I was looking around at like the food options, and it was just fast food after fast food after fast food, which is just something that we personally do not partake in. And so I was just like, man, this is kind of weird. We just were in a room with like all these really fit people. And then you come out and you see just the general population and you go, wow. Okay, all right. So it's something that I want you to understand, that when you're on this goal, when you're getting after this goal of taking care of yourself, and you're running up against what I call resistance, meaning we haven't hit the desired final outcome and we're on our way, but it's frustrating, right? It gets frustrating as hell. And you're in this space. And I want you to understand that this is resistance. This is, universe, whatever you want to call it. This is a value system that you're running up against with yourself. And it's a good thing because you're changing. You're changing as a person, but it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. And so this is where I want to help bring light to this, because when you're going after this goal, you're going to have temptation. You're going to have people say, oh, here's a cookie. It's just a cookie. Or come on, it's just candy, right? You can have one. And so people are going to challenge you because they're not changing. Number one, their value system is not in alignment. And you're moving yourself into this different section. And here's the thing that I want to call out. There's no right, wrong. There's no right, wrong to someone being in one value system versus the other. This is just your goals, your life, and what you want. I will never, ever look at someone and be like, what? Come on, you need to lose more, right? Like, this is your goal. This is what you desire. Okay. And it's really, really important. Now, I will share, hey, here is what healthy is, or here's what keeps you in a healthy window. I will absolutely do that as a professional and a coach in this industry. But I want you to understand that so many times we will settle because we ran up against our value system, and we need to change. So your value system is truly a depiction of your beliefs, what you believe to be true. Like, I see people in my industry with six packs and ripped and lots of muscles. And so in my head, that is what look like in this industry. Now, that is not 100% the case. I'm not walking around with a six pack all day, every day, but it's something that I'm highly in tune with and what I desire from a daily standpoint. Someone else may say, you know what? I just don't want to have, this fat under my arms or on my triceps. I really want my legs, to be a little more toned and have a little more definition to them. And I just want to get rid of the muffin top or the extra, under your bra, and that is totally perfect for that person. Okay. But what I want to speak into is, how bad do you want this goal? So when you consider the goal that you have gone after, that you have put down on paper, that you said, hey, I want this, what we've got to do next is we've got to ask ourselves, am I willing to do what it's going to take? Now, the logical brain is going to say, hell yes, all day, every day. The fired up person in you is going to be like, God, let's go. Like yesterday, of course I want this. But then there's the version of you that you're trying to break free from that keeps wanting to pull you back. Okay. And that's what you're working up against. And here's the cool thing. You're in control. You can either say, cool, girl, I'm just going to stay with you over here. It's comfy. It's easy. And I wouldn't blame you, right? Like, I wouldn't blame you. But then there's that other side of you that's like, it's new, it's fresh. Man, I've always desired to be in better shape and my clothes to fit really good. And man, just, I can't believe how good I feel on a daily basis. My sleep has improved so much. My A1C is better. My cholesterol is better. I'm not relying on medicine, or I've significantly reduced my medicine. So I'm going to tell you to go after the latter, right? Because I know when you're in better health, like, just everything becomes easier. Going on that vacation and hiking and being active and swimming around, and you feel good. I also believe in the creativity and just your headspace. You're in such a better mood most days. I know when I'm in really good shape and taking care of myself, I'm eating well, sleeping well, really minimized my alcohol. I'm just a better mom. I'm a better, wife. I'm a better lover. Like, I feel better about myself. And that's even something that Tony has said to me time and time again. He goes, when you really take care of yourself, he goes, you're a confident person, but he goes, your confidence just explodes. And he goes, that is actually extremely attractive. And I was like, whoa, okay, cool. Like, you're weird. Stop talking. But, it's just one of those things where you're like, you're not expecting that from your spouse. But I want you to dig a little bit deeper when you set a goal and you ask yourself, how bad do I want this goal? And are you willing? What are you willing to do to get that goal? So the reason, and I just want to give a little insight to this conversation here today, is I just had my business coach ask me what I want, what I wanted to create. And he said, are you willing to do the things? And I was like, ooh, that's a gut check right there. And, logical brain is like, hell yes, let's go, fire up. But then I also started thinking about the kids, and I started thinking about keeping up with the house, and, the clients in the gym and the clients online, and like, okay, how am I going to divide my time, and how many people am I going to have to hire? And I want to lead those people really well. And so it really helped me objectively step back and say, what am I willing to do and what am I not willing to do? And it really helped me craft my goals around what it is that I actually desire. And it's going to stretch me. It's going to force me to really step into a whole nother version of myself. But the thing that I feel is I feel a little fear, but I also feel a ton more excitement. Okay. There's a ton of excitement that comes because I'm tired of hanging out right here. I'm tired of seeing all these other people impact all these people. And I'm sitting here going, man, I can do that too. See, I am on a huge mission to help more women. And I keep holding myself back. Okay. And that's my own belief system that I'm having to break free. I am having to ask myself, who am I to run this kind of organization, to have this kind of impact, to be able to give back in this capacity? And I'll be honest, my goals scare the living you-know-what out of me, but I'm willing to do the things because I want to have that greater impact. I want to have this legacy on other families. I want other women to show their families how they operate and that this is a standard. This is a standard in our household that we take care of our bodies, don't eat a bunch of junk, we don't have a bunch of sugar, and that every now and again, yes, of course, it's okay, like holidays, birthdays, have fun, whatever. But it's okay to really value taking care of ourselves. I know the more women that I impact, it's going to have a trickle effect into their spouse, into their kids, into their girlfriends. And so that's what gets me pretty excited because I know when you impact a woman, there's a ripple effect. She doesn't just take care of herself and puff up her chest and that's it, right? And that's not to slam men. And I don't feel that men 100% do that. But I do believe that women are more like arms open, come with me, let's go, band together, sisters. And that's really what this is we've got to lift up women more. We've got to help women understand how worthy they are, that they're worthy to have any desired outcome. And see, I had to do this inner work for myself. I had to do the work to say, hey, girl, whatever you desire, it's yours. It's already yours. And so now all I've got to do is do the things, right? It's really not that hard. Let's just be honest. Eating well is not hard. It is generally not hard. Walking is not hard. Doing workouts is not hard. Now, I will have to say, if that is new for you, it may feel hard, and that's okay. But you're going to run up against this resistance. The resistance is normal. Okay, so think about it. You're at a friend's house and they've pulled out all the appetizers, all the yummy goody treats, all the alcohol, all the things. And you're sitting there going, but I want to hit my goals. And you can band with it for the first 30 minutes. You're like, yeah, I'm going to hit my goals. I'm not going to get into this temptation. Then, by the time the third person asks you, hey, do you want a drink? Hey, do you want some? Hey, did you try this? You start swearing on you, right? And you start going, oh God, okay. Hang in there, girl, hang in there. And then by the end of the night, you're saying, screw it, and you're eating all the things, right? And so I want you to understand that that is where you're going up against a value system within yourself of a belief that you have around that situation. So what it takes is you've got to flex your muscle in those situations. And you've got to see yourself win those situations. What does winning look like? See, that's something that's really important to me as I like to help women really craft, okay, hey, we're going to go over to our friends. Here's the things that are typically there. A lot of times I'll recommend, hey, just bring something with you so that you can have this. And if you have a couple little sneaks of this or that, who cares? You're going to be fine. Or we talk about if they choose to have an adult beverage, then okay, how do I factor that into this overall day? And so that's the important thing. But we can't eat our, what's the saying? I forget the saying. What am I trying to say here? But we can't expect to do the things that we've always done and get a different outcome. Okay, so you have to consider doing things a little bit differently. If you're always used to letting your hair down on the weekends, consuming more foods, having more beverages, you're going to have to do things a little bit differently. If you've been cracking open a bottle every single night, you're going to have to consider doing things a little bit differently and finding a different outlet. And I will tell you, every time you flex this muscle, every time you put a rep in and you win, you get stronger. Okay, so it's no different than lifting in the gym. Every time you do a rep, you get stronger. Okay, and so you want to think about every time you navigate a situation, you're going to get stronger. It's not going to feel as challenging. And it's pretty soon, it's just going to become a way of life. So many times, like I get in situations where they'll pass around donuts or they'll pass around, just whatever. And it's just totally not something that I would consume. I don't even have a problem. I just pass it along and say no, thank you. And but again, people know me as the health person. So I guess it would be easier for myself, or is it, right? Because it would be just as easy for me to take the donut, just being genuine. And who doesn't like a freaking donut, right? But I want you to take this message today and ask yourself, how bad do I want it? And it's okay to have a real conversation with yourself. And I will tell you that it is worth every lesson, every learning to understanding what is it that you actually desire. So the thing that I want to speak into, and again, we can't solve this here on a podcast, but I hope that I'm giving you some talking points, some learning points, some things to really dig into. But I want you to ask yourself, are you willing to do the things? And if you say no, it's all good. But if you say, you know what, I think I could dig in a little bit deeper, here's the thing, I know you can, okay? And I'm going to tell you, it is so, so worth it. It is so worth it when you hit that goal and you're like, dude, what's next? Okay? Because the body is a pretty cool thing and you got to give it the time and space. You can't expect weight loss to just be this linear path down, easy peasy. You're going to have to work through some resistance. And I want you to almost get giddy. Arin said there was going to be resistance. There it is. I feel it. And I want you to be okay with that, because when you feel the resistance, get the opportunity to learn. What would you like to do in this situation? What would you have done differently? And how do you keep forward? So I want you to take action towards the goals that you desire in your life, whether it's business goals, whether it's career, financial, relationships, or your health. I want you to go all in understanding what it is that you actually desire and what you're willing to do to get there, because you want your goal. And it's okay to want your goal. It's also okay to know that it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be, just the straight path down. And I'm going to tell you that your environment and our culture is not the kindest space when it comes to weight loss. And so that's not an excuse, but I want you to understand that you are going to have family members who challenge you. You're going to have situations that challenge you. You're going to have to look at things a little bit differently. And I will just be genuine, most just overconsume food. Yes, there's a piece of it that we don't move our bodies enough, but a lot from what I see is we just overconsume, portions are too big, and you really don't need as much food as you actually feel like you do, but that does take time as well. So I hope this podcast was helpful. I hope it gave you some inspiration. And if you could, I would love it if you would share this. I would love if you would take this, share it with a girlfriend. And if you've been considering having a coach, having someone help you through this process, I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you, no strings attached, and let's see if this is something that I can help you do. So reach out to me on any of the social medias. I am Arin, spelled Arin, Lindauer, spelled Lindauer, and you can grab me on any platform. All right, ladies, let's go for it. How bad do you want these goals?